Hello, I'm Gareth Thomas and this is my autobiography named Proud. It's my own words and it's a definition of exactly who I am. Yeah, well, the first time I played for Wales, it's still and it always will remain a blur to me because I'm not sure, as much as it was always a dream to play for Wales, it was so much of a dream that I actually didn't think it was a reality when it was happening. And you know, the pressure of playing for Wales I never really felt at that time as well, because I was still a young kid and I kind of rocketed all of a sudden to all of a sudden playing for Wales. But it was in South Africa, so it was in a World Cup. It was outside of Cardiff. So for me, you know, the real first time playing at home for Wales, playing in Cardiff, I suppose was a lot more memorable because my family could be there, and you know, and that all of a sudden becomes an understanding then of you have to play at home really to understand the pride, you know, to see the bustle of the streets prior to the game, to hear the roar, to hear the home anthem being played, to see the flags being waved, even to a point of it carries on for days after, to people in the street, let's say, tapping you on the back and saying if you played well or congratulating you, and to me all of a sudden that's kind of really when you start to become like this, I say, this like homegrown hero in your own town, and the reality hits home that, you know, it's something you've always dreamt of has come true. And you know, there's not many people will go through their life and can say, when I was, you know, when the first question was asked to me at the age of 7 or 8, what did I want to do when I'm older? And you answer, I want to play for Wales. And then you get to the age of 19 and you can actually say that, you know, I've done it. There's not many people in the world can say that they've achieved that. So, you know, doing all that, like I said, it just becomes such a big dream that it takes a while for you to realize the ambition, and the reality of the ambition has all of a sudden kind of come true. You know, to me it's no coincidence that your blood is red and the colour of a Welsh jersey is red. So you know, to me, like I'm really proud to be from Bridgend. It's a town that has given me so much support and so much respect to catapult me and to give me the foundations I needed to represent my country. You know, I don't really still kind of can fathom that I played for a country, because when you think of a country, you can't actually come to grasps with what you represent of a country, because, you know, like I say in the book, it's not about representing 23 people on a field and the coaches. It's about representing a nation, and that's kind of mind-blowing, you know, to represent a nation. You know, there's places in the book, say, where I used to go and stand at certain points and look at certain views, and it's not, you know, it's people who are buried underneath you that have been around, you know, and have gone through the jersey and gone through the team before you. It's people who fought in the wars for years. They all represent Wales still, and you represent that. And I think only when you actually try and sit down and comprehend the magnitude of it, is it actually, do you realise it's mind-blowing. You know, it's 80 minutes of rugby, and that's maybe sometimes all a lot of people may see. But when you represent your country, then you need to know what your country represents. And to me, that represents a lot more than 80 minutes of rugby. You know, you can do that country proud in that time, but you need to know what you're representing. And to me, I did a lot of research and I did a lot of soul searching within myself to make sure that every time I represented it, I knew exactly, down to every blade of grass, what I was representing. I was the kid, you know, I was a kid on the terraces. I used to watch, I used to dream of it. And you know, again, you know, I knew what success not just in the manner of winning or losing. I knew what success and trying hard meant to people, you know, because again, I have a massive, I'm a fighter, I want to win all the time, but I have a massive understanding because I used to watch, I have an understanding of how hard people would try, and you can't always win by trying hard, but people will always respect you by trying hard. And that was kind of my ethos as a rugby player, is I could take losing, I could handle it, but I couldn't handle not trying hard because of what I represented. And when I used to go and watch Bregenda, watch Wales, and you'd hear people saying, oh, we lost, and they were pissed off with the team and they'd want to put everybody down. But the reality was, if I saw somebody trying really hard, then to me that was worth my entry fee. That was worth my cheers. It was worth my tears if we lost. You know, so to me, I grew up understanding what hard work meant, and almost getting to a point of rugby where I realised that as long as I could look myself in the mirror and realise that I've tried as hard as I can, then I can be happy with myself. Yeah, let's say the Lions is to me, it was a really strange concept. And the funny thing is that, you know, if ever you do dinners or whenever people ask you questions, they always say, what's your proudest moment in rugby? And everybody expects you to say playing for the Lions or captaining the Lions. And to me, like I have to be, everything now has to be an honest answer with me anyway, because I can't divert from who I was and I can't go back to who I was. And you know, say it wasn't because I never grew up wanting to play for the Lions. I never dreamt of playing for the Lions. My ambition was always to play for Wales. And I understood the concept of the Lions. I got it, but it never, you know, I could sit here if I hadn't played for the Lions and be as proud of my rugby career now as I would have been if I hadn't represented the Lions. But it was, you know, it was an honour. It was an honour. But this, say, the strangest concept is coming from a kind of heartland of Welsh rugby, is that you're raised, you're born, you're bred, you're raised, you know. And if you're lucky enough to play for Wales, then you know you wanna beat the English, Scottish, the Irish. You want to beat them physically. You know, you're almost ingrown to hate them when it comes to the 80 minutes of rugby, because you know rugby is a fueled sport where you kind of have to play aggressively. And then all of a sudden, going from that concept to being thrown into a concept of where you can no longer hate them because you have to play in the same team as them, and you have to overcome so much more before you're even able to train together, let alone play together, was a concept that opened my mind, you know, and it educated me a lot, and I learned a lot from it. You know, I learned a lot, and one thing I got from it was a bunch of friends that I never thought I would get. You know, friends that, you know, I'd spent a lifetime trying to bash into, the likes of Martin Johnson, Lawrence Delario, Matt Dawson, Kieran Bracken, Austin Ely, who, you know, probably I still don't like, but you get this understanding of, do you know what? It's all about the jersey you wear and the jersey you're playing against. And sometimes there's a realization that there's a person inside that jersey and you never get a chance to know that person. And when you get the chance to know that person outside that jersey, you realize you have a lot in common. And it's almost you wave a flag for a couple of months. You know, you wave a white flag for a couple of months, and you put your kind of national pride aside, and you have to work together to be able to be successful as a British team. And like I said, I made a lot of friends from it, but also learned a lot about the person within the jersey rather than the person wearing the jersey that I would hate. I learned about the person inside the jersey and what it meant to him to represent his country, and how he would overcome that by representing the British Lions. Because I think that's where I think it's a good mindset, because at that time you kind of strip yourself of your national pride a little bit, and you kind of put your weapons down and you embrace the others. But there's no more, you know, greater feeling than kind of putting your pride back on and putting your national jersey back on. And all you have then is you have more of a respect for the person opposite, because you kind of understand them, but you also know that actually I have more respect and more love for my family, for my close friends that I'm representing when I'm wearing my Welsh jersey than I do for a Brian O'Driscoll or a Martin Johnson. So all of a sudden, as much as I respect them, as much as they're great friends, you know, nothing will break the bond of me and my Welsh jersey. So there's always something greater that when you put it back on, you know, when you take it off again at the end, you have so much more to talk about because you have so much more in common, you've become friends. But that jersey, that moment, that time, like I say, everything you represent, the magnitude of your country, the magnitude of, you know, the ground you stand on is a lot more powerful than the 2 or 3 months you've spent together getting to know each other to play for the Lions.